Good morning, everybody. Super excited for this totally impromptu interview that Jeff and I just talked about. Because sometimes you just have to say yes, yes to opportunity, yes to somebody asking you, can you just hop on? So let us know where you're from. We're going to jump in because I want Jeff to introduce himself so you guys know where to send your referral clients to. First and foremost, right? That's what we're here for, is the referral business. So welcome, Jeff. Please feel free to introduce yourself, your marketplace, and then we're going to dive into a couple of the amazing events that you've been hosting.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Jeff Goolsby. I'm in Roseville, California, which is just outside of Sacramento, California. Sacramento is a market that I serve as well, but I specialize in Roseville. That's kind of my hometown, born and raised Roseville guy. Uh, yeah, been in business now for about 10 years. Have a small team, mostly just me and one supporting agent, and then some supporting employees as well. But yeah, I'm excited to jump in and talk to you today about farming and specifically events within the farm. It's kind of
Awesome.
that brings me the most amount of fulfillment, I think, in the business. So happy to talk about it.
That's awesome. And I think that's a huge piece already. Like, you're happy doing it. Like, that alone is like worth its weight in gold. Like, you're not
Yeah.
like, oh, I have to prospect. It's like, no, it's like, I like it. And that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I mean, it's essentially like a party, right? Like you get to just plan parties for like a living. That's kind of cool.
see, a party planner. Let's add that to our 1,000,005 hats we're wearing. We're party planners. We're therapists. We're,
Right.
balloon artists, makeup artists. We're doing it all, right?
Yeah.
So let's start maybe with the most seasonal appropriate event, an Easter egg hunt. What gave
Yeah.
you the inspiration, and what year did you start it?
Okay, so the inspiration, I can actually take credit for the idea or the inspiration of the Easter egg hunt. This was started by a group of moms in the neighborhood that just wanted to, you know, do something fun for their kiddos. And the first year that we did it, I want to say that was 2014, maybe 2015. They, said, hey, we need some help. We know that you work the area. You do. We've done all sorts of little things throughout the neighborhood, not events, but just general activity like door knocking and stuff like that. Anyway, so this group of moms said they needed help. So we were like, yeah, sure, we'll help. We'll contribute the Easter eggs or the candy for the eggs. And we showed up and we helped spread them out. And there was about like 50 people that showed up, kids, adults, whatever. And the second year, they needed support again, but the support had kind of fallen off. Like a couple of the moms moved away, and there just wasn't as much support. So we stepped in and helped. And then the third year, everybody was pretty much like done. But we'd already kind of had this vibe and this experience with what the Easter egg hunt could be. And so I basically just like kind of took it over and ran with it from there. So yeah, I think we've been doing it 8 or 9 years now, um, or this will be the eighth or ninth, year. But
This is
so that's how.
awesome.
So yeah, that's how it got started.
So I just think it's really interesting because so many times people always have to start something from scratch, and the opportunity to, take something that already has been started and just continue it. And you didn't seek out the opportunity, just like, this podcast, you just decided to say yes.
Hmm.
And amazing things can happen sometimes when you just say yes. So what does the Easter egg hunt look like for you guys?
Yeah, so now it's grown quite a bit. So it's usually anywhere from a couple hundred to 300 people that show up in the park. And what it is it's basically a gathering in the park with Easter eggs spread throughout the grass area. Um, it's evolved now to now the current version of the Easter egg hunt is Easter eggs spread throughout. There's golden eggs, multiple golden eggs hidden throughout the park that have like extra special something inside. We did some really cool like cash ones where people were like frantically hunting for Easter eggs because there was two of them that had $100 bills in it, and some cool stuff like that. But then there's also so there's the Easter egg hunt, and then there's also characters that show up. The Easter Bunny is typically there. We had Who do we have? We had Alice in Wonderland come one time. We do like face paintings and just like other stuff. Photographers always there, so you can get your picture taken with the Easter Bunny, and just try to do something beyond just the Easter egg hunt, right? Like kind of keep it interactive and fun throughout the event. But it's not a massive production. Like there are characters, there's a face painter, there's an Easter Bunny, so like there are some key like characters that make it fun and feel bigger, but it's really not. It's just kind of a gathering at the park. Like there's no DJ or MC or any sort of like formal big thing. It's just all of the neighbors getting together and kind of engaging in this little event.
Okay, I got a ton of questions.
Okay.
The face painter, the bunny, in terms of expenses, are you taking it on or are you having sponsors?
I have never been great about getting support from sponsors. There have been a couple of times where people have been willing to contribute. We also do like donuts and coffee, and for that one, I do have a sponsor that brings the donuts and the coffee. But everything else is just on us.
Okay, so let's face painter, Easter egg prizes. Do you have a ballpark for your budget? Are we talking like $500, $1,000, $2,000?
The Easter egg budget is one of the smaller ones. The characters are really the most expensive, like single line item. I think all in for the Easter event, it's like $1,500.
Awesome. And then do you separate your Easter egg hunters in groups? Because once you said golden egg and adults, I'm just thinking like, man, I've only thought about it from a, kids perspective, but opening up like an adult Easter egg hunt where, there's like some really cool, fun stuff in there would be fun to start seeing them being like, yeah, let's go for it.
You know what? That's a really good point. So because there was cash in there, the adults were a little bit more engaged, but it wasn't like a specific adult only kind of thing. The golden eggs were just much harder to find. So the majority of eggs are pretty much just out in like this open grass area, right? So you can imagine just a bunch of kids running around picking up eggs that are relatively easy to spot. And then there is also another area with trees and then there's the park. So some eggs are in the park and in the trees. We just make it, we have like a little side area where like the little guys can go and kind of just pick up one or two eggs. Cause that was something that I noticed when we first did it really big, was that when I said go, no matter if I wanted all the little guys to go first, but then all the kids just came out and it was crazy. And there's really not a whole lot of way for me to like prevent that from happening. So no, it's just a free for all, but then some spots are a little bit more like little kid friendly. Some spots are a little bit harder. You almost have to be like an adult to reach, the eggs. So that's it. That's the flow. There's no rigid, system there.
Okay. And then the other question I have is, you said anywhere from 200 to 300 people, right? So are you limiting it to, or how are you limiting it to neighbors?
I am only promoting it to neighbors, but I am not limiting it to only neighbors. So our neighborhood is the only one that receives like the postcards or the formal invitations. I only email and let people that are in the neighborhood know about it. I only post to like our Facebook group. But if people find out about it, or like one year it was on the like a little small segment on the news, they can come still, right? Like it's not specifically just limited to the neighbor. We don't check anybody at the door or anything like that. It's like you just come out.
Awesome. Okay. And then I guess, do you have any success stories, anything that you feel like is attributed to that Easter egg hunt in particular?
Well, I mean, so the
Any
original.
neighbor came up to you and just, patted you on the shoulder and said, you're the guy that I will sell my house with when I'm ever leaving this area.
So, okay, this is kind of a unique. So that happens. A lot of times people come up and they don't really know exactly what to say, but they just say like thank you. Which to me, I mean, if you can collect like 20 thank yous in one day, people that are expressing like gratitude for you and your contribution to the community, that's a win, right? Those will pay back at some point in time. So I can probably go back and trace specific listings that came from those conversations at the Easter egg event. But the reality is like I'd much rather collect those moments of like gratitude and appreciation from neighbors, because that'll just keep on coming. Like I get super loyal fans and or friends and neighbors that are like, hey, so and so down the street is thinking about moving, or hey, we noticed someone was like packing up some stuff, they had their garage door open. Like I have like these scouts out there and like that are my friends now because of these events, and they're all just kind of keeping a lookout for me, which is, I think, a
Amazing.
bigger win. Yeah.
Amazing. So here's a comment. I'm just going to blend this one in. Love this. Had this idea for our farm this year, and now I'm even more excited about it. So, Jeff,
So
this is what it's all about, right? This is a thank you right here, where we're just talking about these small little things. And it's like, if you got now enough motivation to say, go, I think we did our job this morning here,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we're not done. There's more to you. There is an ice cream social. Do you want to pivot a little bit and we'll talk a little bit about the ice cream social?
Yeah. So, okay. So we totally can. Yes. The ice cream social has taken a couple of different. So the Easter egg hunt, and then I have another event, but the Easter egg hunt is the most consistent style of event, right? Except for COVID times, there was a whole like digital thing that went on there. But the ice cream social has taken on a couple of different forms. It was national. There was ice cream social during summertime, just kind of like a get together. We went out, we bought all of the ice cream that you get from the ice cream man, the guy that drives around in a truck, with ice cream. We went to his source and bought a bunch of ice cream. So we had all the same like ice cream man ice creams, which was really cool. And we just brought it out with dry ice. We had pizza out there, and we had, I don't know, maybe there was like 100 people total that were hanging out in the park having ice cream. And then we did it on National Night Out. So we kind of piggybacked onto what the neighborhood association was doing, and we did like almost like a combo event with them where we just sponsored ice cream, and we had like an ice cream truck, like a snow cone truck that was out there. Last year, we did not do an ice cream social per se. We just on 4th of July, we just sent an ice cream truck out in the neighborhood and gave everybody ice cream, like for free. You just walk up to the truck and you get ice cream. So the ice cream social hasn't been a super consistent, like formal structure. We've just kind of like, we know that every summer we want to make an impact on somebody somehow. And that's the one way we've been able to do it, is through ice cream is our medium for platform for making an impact on people during summertime.
Awesome. So buying out an entire ice cream truck, making sure that everything is already paid for essentially is another, great different twist to it. And you become the ice cream man in this essence, right? I
uh,
mean,
yeah. Yep. So the ice cream social is way cooler. Like having that actual people come to you and you being the ice cream man and just giving out ice cream was way more fun, and there's a lot more connection. And it's that same thing I was talking about earlier. Like that's when you get the thank yous. That's when you have, you're able to chat with people and have conversations about what's going on in their life or whatever. The
Yeah,
uh,
no.
the ice cream, sending out the ice cream man was really cool. We're gonna do it again for sure. But obviously you missed that like connection. You still get the thank yous. People were still texting, sending pictures of like themselves with the ice cream, like at the ice cream man's truck, which was cool. But I just think, there's just a little bit missing there. You don't get that, like, you don't build that community spirit and stuff that you do when you do an in-person event.
Yeah, agreed. So I got a couple of questions. How big is that farm that you're
It's
doing
eight,
it?
it's 1,863 homes.
Okay. So just under 2,000 homes on that one. And the other question was, well, I heard you say association. So you have an association in there, it sounds like, or partial?
It's an informal, it's not a homeowners association, it's a neighborhood association. So it's kind of like a cooperative with, it's like a neighborhood watch kind of thing.
Okay. So it's a little bit lower on the political ladder and it's a little bit easier to give them a support.
Yes. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
So the park, I'm assuming it's central to your community. It's the big one where everybody hangs out.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that one. What is the process of actually setting up an event at one of these local spots that obviously you do not own? Is
Yeah.
it free for everybody? Do you rent the space? How does that work?
Well, in Roseville, we're pretty lucky. There's like 46 parks, I believe. So there's a lot of parks that you can just go to. You don't have to reserve the space. It's just kind of first come, first serve. What I found out is so if moms gathered together and organized an event at the park and I was just supporting the moms, it's no problem, right? You don't have to have any sort of formal like, permits or permission or anything like that. You just go. When you're a company that's like advertising this big gathering at the park, you have to go through a permit process. It's not a huge ask. I mean, you basically just fill out a form and you pay the fee. It's like $200 fee for the permit. So that is the formal way to go about doing it. Is you get a permit, you get permission, you get the blessing from the city, which has become actually kind of cool too, because then like one of the guys that lives in the farm is become a great friend of mine. He's the mayor now. And he is involved with the city. So we kind of want to do things on the up and up with the city. But that engagement with the city has created that connection with the mayor. And, there's good that can come from like getting connected with some of the officials in your city, I think. But that was a really long way of saying you can either go at it I can just go at it just by kind of being first come, first serve, or you can do the formal permission and get a permit and stuff like that.
Build relationships along the way, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, for the ice cream event, do you have any vendor partners on that one, or is it also 100% you? And then what's the cost?
Ice cream event is 100% me. That one's easier because ice cream is actually not, if you just go buy it in bulk from the source, it's not crazy expensive. So I want to say for the first one that we did where we had like under 100 people, that was like maybe $350 or so. Plus we did pizza, so it might have been like, it was under 500 for sure.
That is like insane. I mean, people just need to hear these numbers because most are just so intimidated to start with events. And they maybe talk a little bit about the early stages when you started that event, like how many people showed up the first time around versus the subsequent times.
Yeah. Okay. So given that it's an ice cream social, we started the ice cream social thing maybe the like 2019, and then 2020 was weird. We didn't really do anything in 2020. This is just social. There's nothing social going on, right? And then so 2021 and 2022, we did. I think you kind of have to have a little bit of momentum or at least a solid group of people um, to show to show up to the event, because the idea is that it's social. And so if that's your very first one that you're kicking off with, then just I would just say, bring your friends, bring people that are not from the neighborhood. Like, see if you can get a solid group of people there, because otherwise it won't be very social, right? And it's just like maybe people kind of casually walking in and grabbing a free ice cream, which is defeating the point. You're trying to build community and connection here. So I either would not do that as my very first event, or hedge my bet somehow and make sure I can bring people to the event.
That's a really, really good point. And the other part too, the very first people that are saying yes, those are your social butterflies. Those are the people that will say, yes, we needed this. And they are the ones that will also come back the next time and the next time, and they will tell the neighbors about it. The very first event is one of the most amazing events. It is very intimate, and you can really craft these. I know you called them earlier scouts. I love
Yeah.
that term. I'm like, you can really craft relationships with these scouts to become, your cheerleaders in this entire process, not just for your business, but also to help you grow events if you're really smart about it. If you're just looking at it from like, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy in our neighborhood? They smell it a mile away. If
Yeah.
you're looking to really have relationships that you're building, there is a huge, huge advantage to this. Um,
Absolutely. And actually, that is like the most important part. So two things that I have to say about that. One, if it's your very first time starting an event, don't worry about building it up so big, because most people don't, or at least in my community, are not expecting that anyway. This is a place they're going to take their family. Ideally, there's like a park or a play structure or something like that. There's something like you can kind of stay busy with, and they would go there anyway with their family. But most of them are not looking for a ton of bells and whistles and like big. And that was something that I put a ton of pressure on myself at first. I'm like, oh man, this has to be awesome. But it can be, it doesn't have to be, it can be intimate. It can be, just a fun thing. And you're just the hub of it. And you're creating this space for people to enjoy themselves. And that's the second part, is, in my opinion, what you should do the event for. You should create this space and experience for people to connect with each other and create community within your neighborhood. Because that feeling, like there's a quote, right? And it's like, people won't remember what you said to them, but they'll remember how you made them feel, or something like that. That's the opportunity that you have with these events, is creating connection, creating culture and community, and helping people feel connected, and helping people feel like they belong, and all that. That's way more impactful than just like frills and whistles and like just like cheap pleasures that people will get from your event at the park. It's not about that. It's about that connection and community. And so if you really believe in that, if you don't believe in that, I don't know. I think spend the money and time and effort on something else. Like do something else, because that it's just going to be a waste. In my opinion, it's a wasted effort. This is not a do an event, get a deal kind of thing. This is a do an event, find your social butterflies, find your people that you connect with that are there, help people connect with other people, and like build your sphere through, like, make these people in your neighborhood your sphere and your friends, and they become your scouts that I mentioned, which I never have called people scouts before. That was
I
the
love
very
that.
first.
I'm like, we're gonna start naming them scouts because yes, I just dropped off a pre-listing package to one of my scouts because she said, hey, our neighbors are moving to Arizona, and I know that I need to get you in front of them. And she's done it. The last conversation I had was really funny. I talked to her. I got a message. She's like, hey, I got somebody for you. They're on this and this street, and they're going to be moving to this and this place. And I'm like, is the first name by any chance this person? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, great. I just signed them last night. And she's like, oh my gosh. It's so good to know that people are watching out to make sure that you're the person getting to the table to get the opportunity.
Yeah. That's such
It was totally
that's
amazing.
such a win. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. So love the scouts. I just had another question for you. I was going to ask you. Now it slipped my mind. So let's see. Oh, let me blend this one in, because just like the other one, it's a long one.
Okay.
But Tanya said she's done those before, and she had, so much fun with it. It was so fun. Now I'm wondering, why haven't I done this again? I need to get into action. Yet again, you sharing your experience has just helped somebody to say, oh my goodness, I need to go back and do this. And I love
Yeah. It's awesome.
So you see how you're getting all those little thank yous for just saying yes to an impromptu interview. And remember, outside of Sacramento, if you need anybody out there, Jeff's right there. So you okay if we pivot one last time?
Let's go. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk about pumpkin patches.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
This is my absolute most favorite one. So I'm glad that we're pivoting into this. This one started out, I used to go around and deliver pumpkins to people's houses. So it started with like my VIP people in the neighborhood, our clients, the people that were in our neighborhood group, which was like a little private Facebook group. And that was like 250 people. And I was like, you know what? Let's deliver to I think the second year we did like 500 people. I can't remember how we came up with that. And I'm like, all right, that's it. We're going to deliver a pumpkin to the entire neighborhood. So this was 2016. We delivered pumpkins to every single house in the neighborhood. We got this big trailer, did a whole thing. It took 6 of us, like 3 days. It was this really heavy lift, but it was awesome because you drive through the neighborhood and you see all of these pumpkins on everybody's like front driveway basically. And it was really, really cool. But it was missing. So it was my gift. We didn't put business cards. We did nothing. We just gave a gift. And I love that too, because then like the word of mouth and people were chatting about who's this, who's doing this. We got recognized by like a local news station and kind of got a little bit of publicity for doing it. But it wasn't, we didn't call in and say, hey, we're doing this. They just noticed it. Anyhow, it was our gift. But the part that was missing, so that in itself is cool. If you do that alone, it's going to be
Let's
fun.
talk a little bit about something on there, because
Okay.
I've looked at pumpkins before. I've looked at buying mini pumpkins bulk. I looked at the wholesale opportunities, and every time I looked at it, I'm like, it's expensive. So reveal the secret. How do you get a trailer load full of pumpkins that are not going to be putting you into financial ruins?
I don't know. If you find out about that, let me know, because it's not cheap and easy. I mean, okay, we do have the benefit. So I'm in Roseville, which is outside of Sacramento, which Sacramento is kind of known as like, I mean, it's a city, but it's also, there's a ton of farming nearby. So getting a hold of pumpkins, there's so many different farms that you can connect with. Like, it's not too hard to get a hold of them. And when we drove around and just gave pumpkins, just for the logistics of actually picking up the pumpkins and delivering them, we didn't get these massive ones. We got like, little, like less than soccer ball size. And then we also got big ones too. So anybody that was special in the neighborhood, like our VIPs, we gave them bigger ones. That was kind of cool. But so yeah, I connected with a local farm that was doing, not a farm, but a pumpkin patch. they'd been around forever, and I just reached out and said, "Hey, can I buy some extra pumpkins from you for, wholesale costs or whatever makes sense for you? And I need 2,000 of them. And what can you do?" And they cut us a deal and sorted them out for us and put them on pallets and stuff like that. So I want to say my all-in cost per pumpkin at the time was like, back then, so that was when we delivered pumpkins. That's when we needed 2,000. We don't need 2,000 anymore, but it was like $2 a pumpkin. So we were into it for like, $4,000 just in pumpkins. That was when we delivered them. Now we do, because we want to build that community, now we do a pumpkin patch in the park. And we've been doing that now for 6 years. 6 years, maybe 5 years.
So 2016.
2018 was actually our first pumpkin patch in the park. So,
Okay.
so yeah, no, that doesn't seem right. I don't know. Anyhow, I think somewhere on my YouTube channel, you'll
see.
see.
You have a couple things you can share on the trials and errors on it, which is good.
Yeah. So we buy less pumpkins, we buy bigger pumpkins. Now we buy like 500. There's always a few left. There's always some left over. And now it's bringing it right back to that same park. We line all the pumpkins out. Matter of fact, if you go onto my YouTube page, is the Goolsby group, you can see our past years of different like pumpkin events that we've done and how it's kind of laid out. Same flow. We bring characters out. We have like treats. There's like a little photo booth station where you can take some photos. There's always a photographer and a videographer. And then yeah, we just put a ton of pumpkins out in the park and call it the pumpkin patch in the park. And then, hundreds of people come out and they get their treats and they engage with the characters, and then they go get their pumpkin and take it home with them.
Okay, so I got questions on that one. Is there a registration?
There is not a formal registration. No. You just come. Yeah. We send out postcards. We send out, we have like a Facebook event that we used to do, and I can kind of gauge how many people might show up based on how many people registered for the event. But even now, like, Facebook events are such a hassle for me, and they don't really get noticed all that much. So I stopped doing them. And now we just we also have been doing it for long enough to where we have like kind of there's consistency. People know there's going to be some sort of event at the park during Halloween.
People get trained, and it's really amazing to see. I experience it with my garage sale, where people are just asking, "Are you having another one? Are you doing that?" And they're being so trained is really an amazing feature that you don't have to even do half the advertisement that you've done in the beginning.
Who's interviewing you on your garage sale? Have you shared your garage sale strategy?
I have. I got an entire course on that one where I literally broke down everything. I've got, everything is itemized, and there's an event schedule. All my collateral is in there. So yes, it's completely course itemized because I've had so many people ask about it, because it is a 6-figure business strategy that I use.
Love it. Okay. Forgive my ignorance on that. I didn't know, but I want to learn from it, because there used to be people that lived in this neighborhood, and that was like the one event that they did, but they don't live here anymore, and they just don't do it anymore. It kind of fizzled out for them. So that might be something that.
This is why you should be coming to the Neighborhood Event Summit in March. I'm going to run one on neighborhood events, different events. And the garage sale is probably one where I do like a power session on, just because it is my number one event. And it's the one that I will be growing into my second farm of it. So
awesome.
I got another question for you. Are you ever worried you'll run out of pumpkins? That's a good question.
I'm always worried I'll run out of everything. That is a fear of mine in everything I do. If friends come over, there's like double the amount of food and drinks available. I'm always fearful that I'll run out of stuff, but so far I have not. Actually, there's almost always extra pumpkins to give away, and I'm like begging people to take more pumpkins after the event. So
What do you do with leftover pumpkins?
couple of things. So usually it's during soccer season, so there's soccer teams that are sometimes out at the park playing soccer. So we're like, hey, come grab some pumpkins. There's a Boy Scout group in the neighborhood, and they like to take pumpkins and do some things with them. I don't know. So yeah, we usually, or I decorate my house. I just have like a ton of pumpkins out in my front yard.
Love it. And then I think the other part too is, I mean, it's a fear for all of us, but pushing past our fears is really where the growth opportunities are lying. And then just think about a backup plan. If somebody comes and it's like, hey, we ran out of pumpkin, first of all, they know to show up earlier next year.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, can you just tell them, hey, we actually are completely out, but here is a form, fill it out. I will get more pumpkins delivered and I'll drop it off personally. You're not going to have a ton of people that probably will take you up on it, but the ones that do, go the extra mile, make it right, right? Spend the extra $2 or $5, whatever it is per pumpkin, and create that experience that says, oh my gosh, this person is going the extra mile. Because as an agent, what do? We go the extra mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, any success stories from the pumpkin patch that you have to share?
Oh, it's again, it's similar to the Easter egg thing. I will say that or in terms of like building connection and getting the thank yous and having a chance to just talk to neighbors and stuff like that. That's the big one. Um, I have had people call me and say specifically like, "Hey, we got your pumpkin." This was when we were delivering pumpkins. We think you delivered the pumpkin, right? Yeah. And then I've gotten like, listings from just giving that gift. But again, I would trade it all. Like it's all about the connection and the friendships and like building the community and having people know. So this year actually was the first time that it really kind of like just hit me in the core. Like, man, I am creating memories for these kids that live in this neighborhood that they're gonna remember like forever. I remember as a kid running around in downtown Roseville at the Christmas tree lighting event, and that was like a common thing that we would go to all the time. Well, this is a common thing that these kids are going to all the time every year for the last, however, I can't remember how many years, but they've been going to it for long enough now to where like this is embedded this is a tradition of their family. And how cool is that? Like if you're not like now I have to do my job as an agent and show value and show that I can be a professional real estate agent as well. So there's marketing and there's outreach and there's stuff that goes along with that. But I've already become a part of the household like experience. I'm already in with them at this intimate level. And I got to do it without having to like break through the barrier of I'm a salesperson first. I got to just connect with them first. And then now I can take it that next step and be a professional.
Love that. There is one comment I want to show you for the leftover pumpkins. Tanya says, why not tag the extras and drop them up at the local elementary school?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you're, needing a couple more ideas of how to get rid of the pumpkins to have a bigger impact, I mean, they're pretty cool in front of your house, I'm sure. But, then
No, that's a great point, Tanya. And that's another thing too, like connecting with the people, the schools that there's 3 schools in our neighborhood. Most neighborhoods have a school, at least nearby or connected to it or in it. Yeah, like going deeper and connecting with the people that are in the neighborhood. I actually do the PTC, like in president or one of the people in the PTC usually come and pick up leftover pumpkins and take it in afterwards for like a little fall festival thing that they do. So yeah, like that's a great point, Tanya. It's good.
Yeah. What about other agents in your neighborhood?
What about them?
Exactly. What about them, right? So Bethany is asking, okay, what are other agents doing in the neighborhood? Or do they just completely stay away because, after a while they look at it and it's hard to compete with somebody that serves instead of sells?
Yeah. That's it. Like if there's no, so we used to have the other dominant agent in the neighborhood did the yard sale, um, which is immense service, right? Like you're out there, you have the signs. There's a whole lot of infrastructure that needs to happen in order to put on a yard sale, and that's service. They didn't go deep on anything else or any sort of like deeper level of connection, and so this is where I was able to find my niche. Um, there are no other real estate agents that are proactively marketing or doing anything in the neighborhood because I don't know what they would do. We got it. We've got it all on lock. There's nothing, or maybe there is something, and that's great. But then if they show up as an authentic person and they connect with people and people like them, then so be it. That's all right too. So yeah, I don't
There's
know.
always room for somebody, right? To be somebody's cup of tea. So
Yeah.
I think, let me see. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the video you shared with me for your pumpkin patch in the park 2022 highlights. I think that would be a great way to round it out, at least for our video watchers. So the podcast ones, you're gonna be missing the video. So make sure you join the Facebook group in which the video is gonna be hosted. And then any last words while I'll try to get this one loaded that you would pass along to any people?
I mean, no, I hate to just like go on loop and repeat too much. So, like I said, I think if you come from this with the position of giving back and contribution and building connection within the community, you'll win. And if you do it from a transactional point of view, you'll struggle and it's expensive.
It reeks of children. I smell children. So young and beautiful. Hard to tell who's a child and who's a unicorn, though.
Am I buffering? I'm buffering.
Buffering, yeah.
Oh no. There you go.
All right, so we've got our very last pumpkin to put out. I'm gonna put mine right over by the nose. You put yours over by the head, okay? Sounds good. So this is our 5th pumpkin patch in the park event. We've been doing this. We used to do pumpkins. You want to go do yours? So we used to do pumpkins where we deliver them out to all the neighbors' houses, and we changed it up. We wanted everybody to get together, have some fun at the park, at Boljon Park in Roseville. We're in the Highland Reserve neighborhood, and build community. People ask why. A lot of people are super grateful, right? Everybody comes up and says thank you so much for this, and while I appreciate them saying thank you, I don't think they realize how much they contribute. What we're really doing here is just building a strong community. I'm a born and raised Roseville guy. I have these great memories of all the Roseville events, going to the Christmas tree lighting and really cool things that the city does. And this is just our little way of contributing to the community and to the neighborhood and building some of those memories so that my kids and my family can enjoy it and everybody else in the neighborhood as well. 2022 Pumpkin Patch in the Park in Highland Reserve is going on right now. And what I've loved about this event so far is all the new faces. People coming up and saying that I've never seen before and saying, hey, what the heck is going on? We'd heard about this from our neighbor or a friend, or we saw it as we were walking by. And they're here and they're hanging out with each other and they're getting to know other neighbors and they're just having a good time at the park, which is why I do this. So I love it so much. It's been my favorite part of the event. You notice you don't see a bunch of my signs and branded. It's not about that. It's not about the Goolsby group. It's about the community in Highland Reserve. So if you came and participated, awesome. If you haven't been, come on out. We want to hang out with you. We want to have some fun in the park. That's what this is all about. We want to make Highland Reserve and then continue to have Highland Reserve be an amazing place to live. Come check us out.
What can I say? Other than wow, wow, wow. I'm like, this is spectacular. I'm like, amazing.
The characters absolutely make that event. Like, if you can, I mean, and that's a tough one to pull off because there's not always character. I don't know if there's a lot of characters available other places, but if you can somehow find like an agency or just find some people that are willing to dress up and be a character, those guys are just incredible. As far as I know, there's only one company nearby that does it, and they're here, and they're also in Ohio. They're just kicking off somewhere in Ohio. I'm not sure, but they are fantastic, and they stay in character the entire time, and they just absolutely bring like a ton of fun to the whole.
We got Ohio agents in this group and on the stream. So if you remember, and I'm going to put your video into the chat because people are saying I need to go and show that to people. Yeah. So let me drop it in the chat so you guys can watch it and rewatch it. This was awesome. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing not just one, not just two, but 3 amazing strategies. I think we're going to turn it into a 3-part series. And again, outside of Sacramento. So if you have Sacramento or outside clients, hit up Jeff. You can tell he is a hyper-local agent by heart. So thanks so much for joining. And again, if anybody wants to reach you, what's the best way?
Yeah, I'm super easy to find, just right here, Geoff Goolsby, spelt with a G, GEOFF. And so yeah, just reach out to me I'm on Instagram, I'm on all the places. But give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text. You can find my contact information everywhere.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week with more neighborhood events. By the way, if you haven't joined the 2-day summit we're running March, then you want to join us on the summit. And details are coming forth on that one, but we'll talk all things neighborhood events from setup to finish of how you can make this a success for you this year. So you want to join right now, make sure you drop summit in the chat. We'll circle back with you guys later. And other than that, you guys have a fabulous, fabulous Monday.